Welcome back to another video. In this video, again, we are going to discuss about the virtual buyer, but using tagged traffic. So I will do the same thing. First, I will go ahead and configure my switches here, gig 0/0 as a uh, trunk zone, trunk ports, and the other two ports as the switch access ports. Because in the last scenario I have removed that configuration. So interface gig 0/0 switch port trunk encapsulation dot one q switch port mode trunk and no shut exit do show run interface gig 0/0 so that I can copy and paste it in everywhere. No shut and switch no shut exit. Next access port interface gig 0/1 switch port switch port access VLAN number 20, sorry, VLAN number 10, no shut exit do show run interface gig 0/1, and in the switch 2 is also the same, and also in the switch 3 is also the same. Now switch 2 and switch 3 has the VLAN number 20 but not the switch 1, so I will say interface gig 0/2 switch port mode access switch port VLAN 20 and no shut exit to show run interface gig 0/2. Copy that one, go to switch 3 and no shut exit. Alright, so now at this point of time the virtual wires, the traffic should not go because in the previous lab we were able to communicate from R1 to R2. Since now the switch is tagging, so it should R1 is not able to communicate with R2 anymore, because Palo Alto is not accepting the tagged traffic now. So let's configure our virtual wire so that they can accept the tag traffic, and also I will make sure that all the interfaces 1 and 2 have the same interfaces, virtual wire, same zone, sorry. E/1 and E/2, 1/2 will have the same zone vWire so that the configuration will be a little bit simpler. So first we will go ahead and do that one. So I will delete the policy also. Next I will go to the network interface Ethernet. So Internet 1/1, it is on the virtual wire, same zone, that's correct. And 1/2, it is on a different zone, so I will make it on a same zone, virtual wire zone. And click on OK. So both of them are on the same security zone, that is intra-zone, so traffic should be allowed by default. So let's go to the virtual wire on the left hand side and we will say this time tag traffic 10, 20. So we are going to accept the traffic which is being tagged as number 10 and 20. Click on OK. And now click on commit and commit. So if I go back to my switches now, if I say do show interface trunk, you see that gig 0/0, it is trunking. That's good. And I will copy this command. And here also you see that it is also trunking. That is also good. And here it is also trunking. Right, so once the configuration is being committed, what we should see is that now the Palo Alto should be accepting the tag traffic and I should be able to communicate from R1 to R2. So commit is successful. Let's go to the R1 now again. So before it was not communicating and now it is again communicating. So now you can see that I do have 1/2 and 1/3. I do have multiple VLANs for testing. So I will configure 1/3 and 1/2 on a virtual wire. So let's go back to the Palo Alto now. Let's go back to the interface. And 1/3, I will say that I want to configure this one as a virtual wire interface. You see that there is none, because only two interfaces can be on the virtual. So what I can do is that I can remove number 1 from that, and I can add 1/3 as a virtual wire, and this should have now vWire. And the security zone, we will select the vWire Select OK. Because on these two interfaces we have multiple VLANs, so that's why for testing. So now my 1 and 3 will be configured as a vWire. Right? So basic idea is the same. We are just bridging two interfaces of Palo Alto in such a way that they are like a single link. So in our case 1/2 and 1/3. Okay, 1/3. So these two interfaces have been bind together or bridged together so that the other devices see that they are connected to each other, or switches should see that they are connected to each other. The other thing what we can do is that since we are using the Cisco switches, we can see if we are able to see the CDP neighbors on the other side or not. That is also we can check. So let the configuration be committed first. So that is been committed successfully. Let's go to the R3 and I will ping it to R2, and from R5 I will ping it to R4. So let's go to the R3, and if I say that do ping 10.1.1.2, I'm able to ping. If I go to the R5 and if I say do ping 20.1.1.1, you see that I'm able to ping, because both of them are two different VLANs. R3 is in VLAN number 10, R5 is in VLAN number 20. Since we are tagging the traffic is allowed. Next thing is that on the switch, if I say that do show CDP neighbors, and you see that I'm not seeing the switches from the other side, but I'm only seeing the one which is on the uh, I think we configure 1/2 and 1/3, so I will check it on switch number 2. Do show CDP neighbors. Yep. So we are not able to see the switches on the either side, but we are able to only see the routers, not even the Palo Alto, because Palo Alto does not run on the CDP, it runs on the LLDP. So if we are running the LLDP on the Palo Alto, definitely we would have seen the Palo Alto interface. But anyhow, that's not the one the lab here. So 1/2 and 1/3 we have configured in such a way that they are now R3 and R2 are able to communicate, R4 and R5 are able to communicate. Again, we can do the same thing like changing one of the interface zone and allowing through the policy. So if I go back to the Palo Alto again, so I will say that interface 1/3 that should be on a different zone, and I will go ahead and commit so that we do have a verification that once we change the zone, we are not able to communicate. And after that, we will create the policy. So until that is being committed, I will go to the policy and I will create a policy. I should have not deleted it, but that's fine. Again, the source will be the vWire and vWire1 because bidirectional traffic I want to allow, and destination will be vWire and vWire1. Application will be any, service will be any, action will be allowed. Click on OK. So policy is ready, that's all good, but we did not push the policy yet. So once this configuration is been committed, now if I go back to the R3, before we were able to ping to the 10.1.1.2, but now we are not able to ping it. So let's go back to the Palo Alto and we will do the commit now. So once the policy is being committed, after that we should see that we are able to communicate with each other. Now the benefit for the different zones will be that if you go back to the policies, if you go to the action, you do have profile against, you select the profile and you can attach different profiles like antivirus, vulnerability, DDoS, URL. So different profiles you can attach, it's up to you. Since we are not doing the profiles yet, so I'm just keeping as simple as possible. Right, so once the configuration is being committed, and after that we should see that the traffic is being restored and they should be able to communicate with each other. Right, so R5 able to communicate. So we successfully configured once the virtual wires using tag traffic, so VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. I hope this was informative for you and thank you.